You are all registered and ready to vote. You're all about making yourself knowledgeable and sharing your voice on election day. But something's missing. You have a really stupid question and you're kind of afraid to ask it. How does a Canadian federal election actually work? Today, we're going to get into all the details of how the federal election process in Canada actually works. Basically, the stuff that you were supposed to be paying attention to back in grade 10 civics class that you totally didn't care about at the time and now feel too ashamed to ask. I know, I said that there was only going to be one political video, but that registering to vote video actually got quite a bit of traction, and I've had some questions come up from you guys that I didn't address in that video. So this time, I really promise it's the last you'll hear from me about the election. But if you're finding me for the first time, hello and welcome to the Ready Set Life YouTube channel. My name is Brittany and I'm a millennial financial coach who makes videos all about taking the fear out of finance. I've decided to make a few videos about voting because everyone is being super bombarded with the election details. But I know for me, it's confusing as heck if you don't know what all of it actually means. The decisions made by our political leaders have an incredible impact on our financial life, and I want to make sure that everyone is as informed and comfortable as possible to share their opinions. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. If you're interested in learning more about issues affecting Canadian millennials, specifically related to personal finance, then I bet you'll enjoy my channel. So let's get right down to business. I'm going to be super simple with all this, so just know there's a lot of background information and details that I'm cutting out of this. What I want you to come out learning today is the very basics. How the government is structured and how elections occur. So you actually know how and why you're voting on election day. Canada has 3 levels of government. Municipal, that's your city, township level. Provincial, that's your province or territory level. And federal, i.e. all of Canada. I'm just going to be focusing on that federal level because that's the most relevant. In the federal government, there are 4 different segments. The Queen, represented by the Governor General, basically a figurehead left over from British colonization, but important to note because if the Prime Minister dies, they get to choose the successor. Fun, morbid fact. The Prime Minister, which is the leader of the party with the most votes in the House of Commons seats, more on that later, the Senate, who approves and rejects bills passed by the House of Commons, and the House of Commons, which is a group of officials elected by us, the people, the citizens of Canada. When you vote in a federal election, you're voting for what's called an MP, or a Member of Parliament. These MPs get to sit and vote in the House of Commons, which is basically the room where they make all of the bills. Most of the bills. We're going to keep it very simple. And just a side note here, that a bill is pretty much the same thing as a law. It's just not passed yet. So it's like a draft of a law. These MPs are local people who might live in the area that they're running in and have some sort of local connection or care about the issues affecting your specific area. Their job is to represent you in the government. So they're specifically paying attention to how you feel in order to represent your needs and wishes properly. Most of these MPs are connected to a political party. You can run as an independent representative, but there's a bit more red tape involved in that, and I'd say most of the people who actually win the seats are affiliated with larger groups. Everything is based on location. Canada is broken up into 338 different sections called electoral districts, or ridings. This means that there are 338 seats in the House of Commons and 338 people will hold office there. Seats are broken up proportionally by population. So Ontario, because it's the most populated, has the most seats. In each riding, there can be multiple candidates, and whoever gets the most votes wins that seat. It's super important to mention that here, because the person who gets the most votes could be representative of less than 50% of the population in that district. This system is called first past the post, or plurality. There's a lot of debate about whether this is the best way to do it, but you can research that on your own. Currently, this is our system. When a candidate wins a seat, the party that that MP is from is what determines the party that the Prime Minister is from. So we don't actually vote for the Prime Minister. This is something that is starkly different from the US that people sometimes get confused about. There's a lot of media attention around the federal level of the election or the leaders of the parties. But who you're actually voting for is that local person that's representing you as the Member of Parliament in the House of Commons. The party that wins the most seats at the House of Commons level gets to have their leader as Prime Minister. For example, in this breakdown, the Red Party would be the winner and the leader would be their Prime Minister. If the winning party has 170 or more seats, then they're what's called a majority government. It's great for them because that means that they can potentially pass bills more easily, as their party makes up most of the seats and therefore votes. If they get less than 170 seats, they're what's called a minority government. They're still winners, but it will be a tougher time to pass bills because some of the people from the other parties will have to share their views in order to vote with them. So that is a super simple breakdown of how voting in the federal election works. Let me know if you have any additional questions in the comments down below. And if you haven't checked out my video on how to register to vote, do that. I'll link it over on the side here to make it easier for you. If you like this video, please give it a like, and if you haven't subscribed yet and you're interested in easy explanations of personal finance issues faced by us millennials, subscribe to my channel. I put out new videos every single Thursday, so ring that bell to turn on your notifications so you don't miss them. Until next time, I'm wishing you great financial health. Bye! It's basically a figurehead left over from British colonization.